This is CBC Vancouver News.
I'm sad because I just miss him. I know he's with God.
Emotions run high as a 4-year-old struck and killed by a bus is laid to rest. Also,
what do we want? Healthcare. When do we want it? Now.
Outrage in northern BC as residents of a rural town take to the streets to protest cutbacks to its local emergency room. Hello, I'm Janella Hamilton. Thanks for joining us. It's been 4 months since a tragic bus crash outside the Horseshoe Bay Ferry Terminal claimed the life of a little boy and left his mother critically injured. Today, family, friends, and community members came together to honor his life and lay him to rest. Michelle Morton has our top story.
Loved ones and community members gathering Saturday to pay tribute to a little boy who loved buses.
He's supposed to be studying now. Bringing him in a school bus is kind of reflecting that moment, for him.
His father says to honor his son's last wish, the family wanted to take him for one more bus ride. 4-year-old Leonardo Machado is remembered by his father as always being about love.
Leonardo, yeah, he's a happy camper, always happy, smiling.
It was here where witnesses say a bus jumped the curb, striking Leonardo and his mother Silvana last May. Silvana was sent to hospital in critical condition. Leonardo died at the scene.
He leads me in right paths for his name's sake.
Clineo says Silvana has been in and out of surgery since that tragic day. Today, she's mustering the strength to lay her son to rest.
Really sad, so sad. I miss too much him. That's I can say. I miss him forever.
Some family friends wearing shirts with an image they say was drawn by a witness who was on the bus that hit Leonardo.
We believe that the angel came to take Leonardo to heaven, and she started drawing this, and she gave it to the family.
The mother of that witness attending Saturday's funeral on her behalf.
He's been in our thoughts and prayers, and same thing with Silvana and Clineo since the day that this happened and the day that we met.
West Vancouver police say there are no updates in the investigation at this time. They previously said a criminal offense had not been ruled out, and speed is not considered a factor in the crash. Leonardo's final resting place near a bus stop. Clineo says it's so his little boy can be close to buses every day. Michelle Morton, CBC News, Vancouver.
Residents in Tumbler Ridge marched through the streets today protesting cutbacks to their local emergency room. The town of about 2,400 people has been without overnight or weekend access for about a month. Northern Health says it's due to doctor shortages, an issue plaguing ERs across the province. But as Matt Preprost reports, people there say the situation is putting lives at risk.
What do we want? Healthcare. When do we want it? Now.
More than 100 people demanding the health care they say every community deserves. 24/7 emergency service for a working town built on coal mining and home to a UNESCO Global Geopark, drawing visitors from around the world.
Emergencies do not wait for business hours. Emergencies don't check the clock before they happen.
It's been a month since the ER was scaled back to 9 to 5 on weekdays because of a doctor shortage with limited on-call hours. Now, anyone needing urgent care overnight or on the weekends must travel over an hour to Dawson Creek. Nicole Dennis, a local teacher, made that drive twice in September when she says a cat bite turned septic. But with Dawson Creek also short doctors, she was flown to Vancouver for treatment.
When I got there, the doctor had said to me pretty much point blank that if I had waited and I had driven down myself, or if I had waited for my partner to drive me down or an ambulance, I probably wouldn't have made it.
Northern Health first said the cuts were permanent and now calls them temporary as it recruits 2 new physicians. A second ambulance has also been stationed in the community. But for residents, it's not enough. More than 1,800 have signed a petition to restore full ER hours. Residents saying the town is vulnerable without a doctor on call every night. And until that happens, they'll keep raising their voices.
Take these voices, these names down to Victoria and give them help.
Matt Preprost, CBC News in Tumbler Ridge.
That doctor shortage also impacting Delta Hospital. Fraser Health says the emergency room will be closed overnight until 6:30 tomorrow morning. The health authority says emergency-trained nurses will remain on site to help walk-in patients with basic care and redirect or transfer patients to neighboring hospitals. The disruption only affects the emergency department. All other services at the hospital will remain open. But Fraser Health says the ER closure in Delta may result in longer wait times for non-urgent care at other emergency rooms in the region. BC conservation officers say an elk hunter was mauled by a grizzly bear in the East Kootenays. The service says it happened Thursday near Fort Steele when the hunter was approached by a grizzly bear and her cubs.
We believe with the calls, it attracted the grizzly bear family group in towards him. And then obviously there was an encounter where he was mauled and sustained serious injuries that necessitated him to be evacuated and taken to Kelowna General Hospital.
Sprado says the man remains in hospital in stable condition. He says the hunter managed to fire off one shot in self-defense, but it's unclear whether the bear was hit. Conservation officers and RCMP conducted a thermal imaging search, but have not located any bears. With elk hunting season upon us, officials are reminding hunters to always carry bear spray and have a means of communication. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says an ostrich from a BC flock that was recently given a last-minute stay of cull order by the Supreme Court of Canada has died. The agency says the bird at Universal Ostrich Farm in Edgewood had a previous injury and a pre-existing condition that impacted its left leg and mobility and was being treated by the owners for some time. It says the bird's health significantly declined over a 2-day period before dying today. The farm confirmed the death over social media before accusing the CFIA of animal cruelty. The call was ordered after an avian flu outbreak at the farm, but the farm's owners challenged the move, saying the birds that survived are healthy and valuable for scientific research. Donald Trump says Israel has agreed to an initial line for its troops to withdraw to, and he says if Hamas agrees, a ceasefire can begin immediately. Hamas has accepted much of Trump's ceasefire framework, and Israel's bombardment has been scaled back. Bombing continued yesterday until Trump demanded it stop. Still, Gaza officials report 36 people killed afterward. Israel says it's cooperating, but stipulates its original war aims must be met, including Hamas disarming. Indirect talks are reportedly being set up. Trump says any Hamas delay will mean, in his words, that all bets are off. It comes as demonstrations against Israel's Gaza campaign took place around the globe today. In Barcelona, an estimated 50,000 took part. The protests were organized to demand the end of the war and to denounce Israel's seizure this week of an independent aid flotilla. In Rome, police estimated the turnout at 250,000. Tonight, there were clashes with authorities after a group of about 200 broke away from the main protest. Justice for Girls held a day of action in Vancouver for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. They gathered on the corner of Hastings and Heatley this afternoon. The group renewed its calls on BC's coroner service to direct an inquest into the deaths of Noelle O'Soup and Chelsea Poorman. Bodies of both women were found separately in the summer of 2022 in Metro Vancouver. Dozens of parents and children rallied in Olympic Village this afternoon, pushing once more for building an elementary school in the neighborhood.
If we don't have a school that's close, we will likely end up having to move out of the neighborhood, like so many of our friends have had to move out of the neighborhood.
It's been nearly 2 decades since a school was first proposed at the site, and the city set aside this land for the purpose, but the provincial government hadn't provided funding for the project. Lisa Dominato says that funding is now flowing, meaning the project could be completed by 2029. The new date officials are now eyeing for an opening a school at that location, but not all residents support the idea, saying space is limited as is, and constructing a new school will lead to more congestion. It was to transform from a parking lot into a gleaming new home for the Vancouver Art Gallery's collection. But what was a hole in the ground is now being transformed back into a parking lot. The city says it's a temporary measure as the art gallery goes back to the drawing board with new architects. As Michelle Gassoub reports, it's an unexpected and expensive detour.
$60 million has been spent for the site of the new Vancouver Art Gallery to look like this. So how did we get here?
Over 20 years ago, it was decided the art gallery needed more room and therefore a new site. In 2013, Vancouver City Council picked this location at West Georgia and Cambie. A Swiss architecture firm was selected to design it, and these flashy renderings were released. They broke ground on the project in March of 2024, but by August, the cost ballooned by 50% to $600 million. Construction stalled, and in December, citing out-of-control costs, that plan was scrapped entirely and the Swiss architects removed. Now, the city and the art gallery confirm the site will be a parking lot run by Easy Park, saying this arrangement is an interim measure only.
It just kind of leaves you wondering, how will the momentum continue? Yeah, especially when we kind of see the physicality of it being repaved after it was awoken.
The art gallery has since hired 2 Canadian architecture firms, saying the new design will be smaller and not as tall. There's currently no timeline on when construction could start again, but renderings are expected in 2026.
We're kind of starting from zero again. It's like now we have to reawaken the space, and new designs, have to be created and approved. And in that time, will costs continue to increase?
$60 million have been spent on planning and pre-construction. The art gallery says, despite the setbacks, donations totaling $140 million for a new design are still in place. And in the meantime, if you're looking for parking downtown, spots at Georgia and Cambie may soon be available.
With $60 million already spent, raises the question, is this the most expensive parking lot ever built? Michelle Gassoub, CBC News, Vancouver.
Metro Vancouver's regional district says it has decided to upgrade the existing Iona wastewater treatment plant instead of building a new facility. But Vancouver City Councillor Sarah Kirby-Young says the decision needs a lot more due diligence.
We're doing this as cost effectively as we can. We have to meet the provincial regulations, but we also need to ask, what are we getting for that money? What are the outcomes? Are we going to have healthier waters? Are we going to have healthier fish stocks?
The project is expected to cost $6 billion, down from the previous projected cost of $9.9 billion. It comes as the regional district faces scrutiny for the massive cost overruns and delays on the North Shore wastewater treatment plant. The Richmond plant serves about 750,000 residents and processes about 40% of the region's wastewater each year. Coming up, Japan prepares for its first ever female prime minister. We'll have the details after the break. A Russian drone attack has hit passenger trains at a station in northern Ukraine, and the Ukrainian government is calling it a deliberate targeting of civilians. One person was killed, 8 others were taken to hospital. Ukrainian officials say there were 2 strikes, the second hitting after rescuers arrived. Ukraine's president called it terrorism and said the world cannot ignore it. Japanese politician Sanae Takaichi is poised to become the country's first ever woman prime minister. The ruling Liberal Party elected her its leader today. The party faces a challenge from parties further to the right over high inflation. Takaichi is in the Liberal Party's right wing, opposing same-sex marriage, urging tightened-up immigration, and questioning Japan's pacifist constitution. She says she's a Margaret Thatcher admirer, though analysts say her economic policies are nothing like Thatcher's. The Liberals' parliamentary coalition is expected to elect her as Prime Minister on October 15th. The President of the United States is no longer denying knowing about Project 2025. It's a 900-page policy blueprint from the Heritage Foundation, one of Washington's most prominent right-wing think tanks. Donald Trump spent months disavowing the unpopular document during his election campaign, but he's now publicly changed his tune. Ashley Burke explains why.
During his re-election campaign, Donald Trump repeatedly tried to distance himself from Project 2025, an unpopular and controversial policy blueprint.
Seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it.
But now, for the first time, Trump has publicly acknowledged that he knows about it. He posted online about one of its key architects, who's now his budget director, saying he's meeting with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democratic agencies he recommends to be cut. Then posted this AI-generated video of Vought as the Grim Reaper, Trump appearing to openly embrace Project 2025's plan for mass firings.
I think he somehow feels now that he is president for the second time, and the Republicans have completely kowtowed to him in Congress, and they control both houses, that he can sort of reveal himself, reveal his true colors.
The Heritage Foundation.
Project 2025 is a sweeping policy plan that proposes cracking down on immigration, scrapping access to abortion, ending DEI, and much more.
Project 2025 takes a sort of view of presidential power and puts it on steroids. It has a very aggressive view of what the president can do.
Democrats worry Trump's now leveraging the government shutdown to advance Project 2025's goals.
And then that creates all new opportunities for him or Vought to make all these kinds of changes.
Trump's press secretary asked point blank about Project 2025.
Is that the blueprint for shrinking the government?
Look, the blueprint is what the president and his team and his cabinet secretaries ultimately decide.
But it will be up to Americans to ultimately decide if they're okay with what Trump's doing. He's already added several of Project 2025's key authors to his administration and taken steps toward rolling out parts of their playbook. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Washington.
Here we have a live shot of Science World and the Georgia Viaduct. I'll have your full forecast coming up next.
I think it's important to give a human face to the stories that we hear every day, the people that they affect. And I think talking to those people is what really gives us the true sense of the impact of the stories that we're hearing.
All right, let's take a look now at our weekend weather, beginning with a quick peek at the current temperatures around the province tonight. Staying relatively dry overnight for most areas of the province. A little bit of rain for the northern BC areas, including Dease Lake. That rain should clear out by tomorrow afternoon for Dease Lake, making way for sun, and that is what is in store for the rest of the province tomorrow. 12 degrees in Prince George, similar conditions in Williams Lake, 16 and 17 in Kamloops. On the island, sunny and 18 degrees is your high for Victoria. And here in Metro Vancouver, we have sun, and more sun, with temperatures just about below the 20-degree mark for the remainder of the week. That is your late news for this Saturday, October 4th. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. To keep up to date with all the latest news, visit our website at cbc.ca/BC. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.